Okay, so you probably have a ton of questions based on the thumbnail and title of this video, and I'm going to do my best to answer all of them and explain everything in detail. But in today's video, I'm going to be talking about why I believe every digital nomad in 2024 and beyond should be looking at setting up an offshore company in Hong Kong. And before I go any further, look, I want to preface this with saying, obviously, I am not a financial or business advisor. I'm just a YouTuber and a content creator. However, I'm putting this content out to hopefully help you guys, and I'm going to be doing that with the help of my business advisor, Laurent from Athenasia in Hong Kong. So let me explain a little bit. As digital nomads, we're lucky enough that we get to travel the world full time. You may be traveling month to month in different places such as Bali, Thailand, Vietnam, all through Southeast Asia, or even Europe, the United States, Mexico, wherever. I mean, you could be traveling anywhere. And you can be doing so while earning an income being self-employed, which begs the question, if you are self-employed and earning an income and you're not based in your home country, then why should you be paying high level of taxes back home when none of your work takes place there? You see, the thing is, paying taxes isn't just about where you're based, it's actually about where your residence is. So technically, if you're a resident of Canada, Australia, UK, US, any Western European countries, for example, that have really high tax brackets, chances are your business is going to be registered there and you're going to be paying a ridiculous amount of taxes for a place you're not even living or working in. Now look, I am not against paying taxes at all. It is obviously something that is necessary in order to help build an economy for a country. But I am also not for paying taxes that are unreasonable and that are not necessary. And if you're literally never stepping foot in your country of residence and none of your business takes place there, then to me, it makes absolutely no sense to keep paying taxes there unless you want to do that for future plans. Which begs the question, how do you avoid paying high level of taxes in your home country of residence while you're traveling abroad as a digital nomad? Well, that's what I'm about to answer. So after doing a ton of research for myself and Mandy in our business, I discovered that the best option for digital nomads was to set up an offshore company in a country that has either very low tax brackets or zero tax brackets at all. Well, after doing a lot of research on this topic, I discovered that the best option, especially for digital nomads and content creators like ourselves, is to set up an offshore company in a country that allows you to incorporate without having to be a resident and offers either significantly lower tax rates or even in some cases, zero tax rates. After literally spending hours and hours researching this topic and looking into incorporating in countries such as Singapore, Dubai, I even looked into Belize, I stumbled on some really helpful information from a company named Athenasia based in Hong Kong, which basically laid out why Hong Kong may just be the best option for digital nomads wanting to set up an offshore company in 2024 and beyond. Now, you probably got a ton of questions as to why on earth anyone would want to set up a company in Hong Kong. So I'm going to do the best to explain it and answer all of your questions with the help of my friend Laurent from Athenasia. And we're going to go through not only the benefits, but also the process of setting up a business in Hong Kong offshore. But I can tell you right now from experience, having done this already, the process was actually remarkably simple. Like, I couldn't believe how easy it was. It literally just took a couple of weeks. We had to fill out obviously a lot of our personal and business information and provide identification and income reports and stuff like that. But within a couple of weeks, our Hong Kong business was actually fully set up and functioning. And probably the best part is we didn't even have to step foot into Hong Kong, although we do plan on doing that sometime soon. We could literally do it from our home here in Thailand. Okay, so as I said at the start of the video, I'm not a business or financial advisor. So I'm going to throw it over to Laurent from Athenasia to answer some questions and hopefully provide a lot more clarity on why this is the best setup for you in 2024 and beyond. G'day Laurent, thanks for jumping on with me, mate. I really appreciate it. As I've been telling everyone, I'm not a business or financial advisor, so I wanted to just get you on here to clarify things, and perhaps you can start with explaining a little bit about yourself and your background and what it is you do for business in Hong Kong.
Yeah, so I'm Laurent. I'm a Belgian citizen and I speak French. That's why I have this kind of French accent, weird accent. People are always wondering where you come from. So anyway, I arrived here in Hong Kong in 2008. So I have been here for 16 years, and I set up Athenasia Consulting in 2012. So since then, we have helped, I think, more than 1,200 companies to set up here in Hong Kong. And we help them with the company setup, with the company secretary, accounting, audit, taxation. Yeah, everything they need in Hong Kong, we can help them. Then often we are a bit their concierge in Hong Kong as well. If they have any specific needs, like, I need a visa, or I need something a bit special, here in Hong Kong, I need something for logistics or whatever, then we have the network and we help them with that. So that's a bit what we are doing now in Athenasia.
Okay, cool. And so what are some of the main reasons people should consider setting up an offshore business in Hong Kong?
Let me clarify first what we mean about offshore. So most of the businesses in Hong Kong will operate with what we call a limited company. So for some people, as they are outside Hong Kong, they will look at Hong Kong as an offshore jurisdiction. Now, when people talk about offshore business, most of the time what they talk about is the offshore tax exemption. So a limited company can either be considered onshore and pay tax in Hong Kong, or offshore, and at that moment they could be exempt of paying tax in Hong Kong. So this would be one of the reasons. I'll get back to that in a minute. So what are the top 5 reasons to set up a business in Hong Kong? The first thing is that it's just a great place to work in general. It's a really great place to do business. If you come to the city, you will smell the business. It's a true, real business city. It has been number one freest economy for more than 50 years. Just became number 2, unfortunately, last year. Singapore is number 1 now. So really good place, ease of doing business. You have all the infrastructure you need here to actually run a proper business. Really credible place as well, because if you compare, let's say, Hong Kong to one of the islands, in the Caribbean, it's definitely not the same thing. Like BVI, for example, 0% tax is great. The issue is, number 1, really difficult to use it as an operational jurisdiction. That's why most of the people will use BVI to own assets or as holding companies. And in Hong Kong now is really credible, and then we have everything you need to have a real operating business here from Hong Kong. One of the things people like with Hong Kong as well, so that's the second, is also the China-Hong Kong relationship. So we are part of China, and these give us a whole bunch of advantages when dealing with China. So if you're an e-commerce, for example, and you do your sourcing in China, it's a good advantage to have the company in Hong Kong for you to deal with your suppliers directly in China. The third reason will be our banking and overall infrastructure here. So you have everything you need here to actually run the business. Your bank account can connect to Stripe, to PayPal. You can open an Amazon store from here. You can open a Shopify store. You can do everything you need here. Also, the banking is working well now in Hong Kong. So there's no corruption or things like that. I won't name some of the jurisdictions, but here you will just open an account you have to fit the KYC and the AML from the bank, but actually there's never a teller that would say, you have to give me $5,000 US under the table, otherwise I don't open the account. So these kind of things don't happen. We have a really functional banking system in Hong Kong. Fourth reason, I think we're already there, will be the taxation. So if you choose to onshore in Hong Kong, the taxation is between 8.25% to 16.5% for the corporate tax. Dividend tax, 0. VAT, GST, we don't have any of these in Hong Kong. No capital gain tax. So overall, really good place to pay tax if you need to choose the jurisdictions to pay tax. Now, if you are not based here, and if you don't have a staff in Hong Kong, we don't have clients here, you don't have suppliers, you have nothing here. Basically, you just have us as your company secretary and accountant, and that's it, and your bank account. Well, basically, at that moment, you can claim the offshore tax exemption, and you will pay 0 in here. That doesn't mean you pay 0% tax. That means you're exempt of paying tax. That's an interesting thing to mention. So you don't have to pay tax here. So this is a bit the danger. You have to be careful with the jurisdictions in which you live to make sure that you don't have to pay tax there. Because if you're in a high tax country, let's say you're in Belgium and you open an offshore company in Hong Kong, you better talk to a tax advisor in Hong Kong, in Belgium, because you may have issue with this kind of structure. Okay, so really important. Now there's a few jurisdictions that work really well with Hong Kong, such as in your case Thailand, Dubai also. Like there is no income tax there, so a lot of people set up companies in Hong Kong and actually choose to live in Dubai. Yeah, that's the kind of jurisdiction. Panama also is a good place if people live there. There's different options there, but you have to be careful with the offshore. You know, you don't pay tax here doesn't mean you have to pay tax nowhere.
And I guess I'm wondering, is there any specific type of business you would recommend this structure to, or that you would say maybe not recommend it to?
So for us, I mean, this kind of structure, the limited company, sometimes the offshore tax exemption can be great for a wide diversity of businesses. For us at Athenasia, we work mostly with e-commerce, you know, so Amazon, Shopify, or even own e-commerce. You know, that's really common for us because people come here to the Canton, they go to Guangzhou, that is just next door. They pass here, they do their dealing with the suppliers. Sometimes when they come, they go to the fair in Hong Kong as well. So really easy to schedule all their logistics, etc., sourcing from Hong Kong. And then after they shop in the US or Europe, they send everything to Amazon FBA, do business there, and then they leave wherever they want. No, this doesn't really matter. So a lot of e-commerce for us. We also work quite well with consulting, freelancers, or in your case, you know, like content creators. So people that are quite mobile, digital nomads, etc. So this is a good structure for them because where should they open the company? And then if you come from a high tax country like Australia or like Belgium, like Western Europe in general, and then it's like there's not much point to go and pay corporate tax in your own country unless for ideology. If you really want to participate to your country economy and pay tax to your government so that your official can enjoy a good lifestyle, then yeah, you can do that. But if now you think, you know what, I'm not living there, I'm not taking anything from the country, what's the point to go pay 30-35% corporate tax? And all the administrative nightmare in these countries. So you want something that's simple, that's efficient, and it's as cheap as possible in terms of taxation. So that's why many people set up here in Hong Kong. Now, a lot of those digital nomads in general that have Hong Kong company choose to live around, you know, Bali, although it's not the best choice to live in Bali. Because there's tax there as well. Philippines for certain people, Thailand, etc. And then they keep the Hong Kong company because they have then a really functional company, and then they live in Asia, so it makes sense, easy for them. So this is a second one. And then finally the trading sourcing, like traditional trading, you buy stuff in China, sell it back in Cameroon or South America or Europe or wherever. So this is really typical to have the Hong Kong company here. So I would say this is the top three. What you will not find here is that you have a local coffee shop in Sydney. Yeah, you don't open a Hong Kong company. It makes complete no sense. So really localized business, you cannot open them here. It makes no sense.
Okay, so another question I really had when I was looking at setting this up is how safe is it to hold my money in a Hong Kong bank as opposed to a bank somewhere else in the world?
Is it safe to open your company in Hong Kong? Well, what you have to understand, we have a really strong regulatory body in Hong Kong called the HKMA, the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, and they're really on the ball. I think I'm quite confident with them. I know they are really, really stringent. So in 2008, for example, I have no banking issues here. I mean, no banking issue. What I mean, no bank went bankrupt, or no bail-in, no bailout. None of these things we have seen in the West, for example, or that we are seeing now in the US. So like small banks keep collapsing in the US, which we don't really see here in Hong Kong. You know, in Hong Kong everything is still okay. You know, we have a solid banking system. We also have what we call a DPS, so it's the Deposit Protection Scheme. So at the moment, up to 500k Hong Kong dollars, your money is safe. And they plan to increase this threshold to 800,000 by the end of the year, 2024. So this will be a bit more than 100,000 USD that is safe in your bank. So this is per bank account. So if you open 3 different bank accounts in 3 different banks, then basically you have $100,000 saved in each of those. Now, I would recommend you choose your bank and don't rely too much on the DPS. So go like for banks that are solid, so you know that your money is safe. The other thing with Hong Kong, we have the peg with the USD. So this can be a good and a bad thing. The good thing is that you can easily convert to USD at a relatively stable rate. It really fluctuates like really little. So the HKMA makes sure we always have this peg with the USD. But so we have this, so the Hong Kong dollars is pegged with the USD. But in the meantime, if you don't trust the USD too much now, you can see a lot of people now are a bit afraid of what's going on with the US, with the debt that just skyrockets and the money printing, etc. There's also this kind of safety, so people will see that as a safety, that at any time Hong Kong could decide to unpeg from the US dollar and not collapse if the US dollar comes to collapse. Now, I mean, these we are a bit talking about politics, and it's more like, do you think it will or not? You know, this I don't know, because some people are afraid as well that the Hong Kong dollars could unpeg with the USD and then follow the RMB. So this is a bit up to you. But this is if you choose to keep your money in Hong Kong dollars. You know, you can totally choose to have an account in US dollar or euro or British pounds in Hong Kong in your Hong Kong bank. That's not a problem. I hope it answers the question. So I would say, yeah, the money in Hong Kong is safe. Like, banks are safe. I mean, not less safe than the West, I think.
And a question I think a lot of people probably have is, what about Hong Kong's relationship with China and the recent instability in the area? Does that affect business at all? Is that something we should be concerned about?
So what about the Hong Kong relationship with China? Wow, this you want me to have problems here. Not problem with the, actually you might think that, okay, this is problem with the China government. Actually it's not. It's more like, this is a really sensitive topic here, but more with the locals, you know, like, people are really for one side or the other in Hong Kong, you know, so it's dangerous to express your opinion there. And actually, to be honest, I don't really have a really strong one. I'm more balanced. But let's say, I guess you're talking about the extradition bill and the national security bill. So 2019 started the process on the extradition bill. What you have to know is that as per today, this extradition bill has been withdrawn. So it's not, if you're afraid of that bill, like, relax, it's not there anymore. Now there is a national security law. So Hong Kong now have the Article 23 that has been modified to include the national security law. And then, yes, at this moment, there's potentially more interference from China in Hong Kong. Now, personally, as a normal citizen in Hong Kong, I have not seen any difference in my lifestyle. But I am not in weird association, anti-China things. You know, I'm not participating in any of these. No, if this is what you do, yeah, you might be in trouble potentially. But personally, just running a business here, it's totally safe. Now, obviously, don't come here to do an anti-China media. Don't come here with a social something on YouTube that is clearly anti-China. You might be in trouble. Obviously, certain books cannot be distributed here. So anything with bookstore, you have to be careful. We had some people that had issue with that. Education, you have to be careful also. What is your message in your education, in educational content? So you have to be careful with that. But if you run a normal business, you know, if you're a YouTuber in Thailand, or if you do e-commerce and you sell pens in Amazon, I mean, you're fine, you know. I mean, you won't be in trouble. I actually got another Australian guy that came to my office here, told me, his friend was so afraid for him because he was going to the Canton Fair. He said, you will be arrested by the Chinese. And he's like, why? I mean, why would the Chinese police arrest a random Australian dude when he crossed the border? It makes complete nonsense, you know. So I think we have a bit of bad steams going on now for Hong Kong. I think it's more driven by a Western political agenda than a true problem in China. To be honest with you, I mean, living here, I have not seen a huge difference in my lifestyle. Now, what we see more since after COVID is less Westerners are coming here. If I want to be in full disclosure here, the Westerners are a bit more scared to come here. It's not because they cannot come here. It's because they're a bit more afraid. Although we just finished the Canton Fair, was was pretty decent. And a lot of people came here. And we see much more mainland Chinese coming to town and coming here for tourism or even settling here. So this yes, it's happening. And if you also look at the future of Hong Kong and China, so Hong Kong is part of a special project called the Greater Bay Area. And this includes Shenzhen, 9 municipalities from the province of Guangdong. And this includes Guangzhou, Shenzhen in the big cities, for example, and 2 SAR, so Special Administrative Region. We have Hong Kong, we have Macau. And the idea is to make a big trading zone there in the southeast of China. And Hong Kong will have a role there of financial center for this whole area. And there will be facilities to cross the border much easier between the Special Administrative Region of Hong Kong, for example, and Guangzhou. So I think we'll see Hong Kong getting more tied to this economic zone in the future. But if you see the communication of the Hong Kong government, they want to remain that special bridge between China and the rest of the world. So, but now the rest of the world, I think in the coming future will not be just US, Europe. It will be really the rest of the world. So we'll still have US, Europe, maybe a bit less than in the past, but not because of China, mostly because of US and Europe. But we'll see more South Americans, Asian countries, Africa as well. We see more Africans coming here as well, India, etc. Okay, so that's for the China-Hong Kong situation. I'm not overly concerned about this one, to be fully honest. Yeah, and also just to give you also another point, that my kids go to the local school in Hong Kong, and I don't really see like China really overly pushing on the education as well. Obviously, they want to push a certain agenda, a certain vision of the world, a certain vision of the history, but like every country do that, you know. So yeah, no, it's up to you. This one, I think it gets political, so. It's people think what they think, but I can tell you it's not as bad as what is depicted in the Western media.
Okay, cool. And so I think this is a super important question. As far as legalities go, like, is this a legal structure to have your company set up in Hong Kong and be a resident of another country?
So yes, it's totally legal to have an offshore company somewhere and live in another country. What is not legal though is to pretend this company doesn't exist, you know. So if you have it, you will have to declare that you have it. I mean, if you have incomes, you know, you cannot just hide it, you know, hide your account and everything. So you have to see with your local accountant, local tax advisor where you live, like how should you declare this business, or how should you pay tax on this business? Like you have to make sure that you do things in the rules of the art, no? But otherwise, no, it's totally legal. Now, in many cases, there is not much advantage of having an offshore company in Hong Kong if you live in the West, for example. A much better solution for you if you choose to work from Hong Kong because you like the place for all the reasons we mentioned before, and you're like, no, I really like it there, I would like to do business there. Well, you could ask the offshore and then just see how it's being handled in your country. But another thing to do is to just decide to onshore the company here, you know, have an office, have some staff in Hong Kong, local director, do your business from here basically, and then just get some dividends back home. So this is something I could do. For example, I have my office, I have my staff, I have everything here. So I have a true permanent establishment in Hong Kong, so I could pay the local tax, which are not really high. And then after, back home, I could simply take part of it as a salary within certain thresholds that are good to me in Belgium, for example, and then the rest as a dividend. But the dividend in Belgium will be 30% after paying tax here. So it'll be quite high, but will still be lower than what I would pay normally in Belgium for corporate tax. If I pay the corporate tax in Belgium. So it's legal, but just be careful. And what we advise all our clients when they want to open a company with us in Hong Kong is talk to your local advisor. You know, talk where you live. Like go and see an accountant, go see a tax advisor, go see, like, I don't know, whoever handles tax in your country, go talk to him. And somewhat him or her, but talk to someone that has an international tax perspective, you know. Because many accountants, they get really scared when they hear a country that's not, for example, in Europe, if you start to say to an accountant that you want to have a business outside Europe, that's not part of the European Union, they are already scared, and say, you can't do that. But it's not true. So you have to see someone that understands international business, international taxation, and the local side of it. Unfortunately for us, there's just way too many jurisdictions to actually be able to advise everyone. So it's an exercise that you have to do on your side. Yeah. Now, when clients work with us and have some question, we tell them what to look for. They say, okay, be careful with this, be careful with that. Ask this and that question to your local advisor. But we cannot provide the information accurately because it's just too much things to know, and there's too much chance for us to make a mistake. So we can advise well in Hong Kong, but outside I think it's better you see someone there.
So as you guys can see, as Laurent spelled it out for us, he's the expert. It is a great structure for digital nomads, especially ones like us who are content creators and who are moving around a lot and you're not particularly based anywhere. But even if you are based in certain countries, this could be the right option for you. You don't have to keep paying a ridiculous amount of taxes to a country that you're not stepping foot in and you're not doing any work in. It just doesn't make sense. If you found this video helpful at all, or if you have any questions, please leave a comment down below and we'll do our best to answer them. If you want to get in touch with Laurent and his team from Athenasia, I will leave a link down below and you can book a free consultation call with him just to see if this is the right option for you. It may be or it may not be, but the consultation call is free, so take advantage of that. And if you enjoyed this content, please remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.